The Assassin's Creed Valhalla gear, which includes both the Assassin's Creed Valhalla weapons and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla armor. Now this is a topic worth discussing, friends, and we are going to do this in the following video because I have a lot of info to share with you. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Vlad, and as I promised in yesterday's video about the Assassin's Creed Valhalla loot boxes, in the next video, which is this one by the way, we will focus on the gear in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Before we start, there are several things I want to point out, and the first one is about your support on my channel. So let me begin by thanking all of you guys for subscribing and for showing your support through the comments and likes. Last but not least, let's welcome Football Frenzy, Christian Tukflight and Aim Ibrahim, the latest subscribers who have joined while I was recording this video. Thank you guys and welcome to this community. Good then, so let's begin with our Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay trailer breakdown, in which we will identify all the Assassin's Creed Valhalla weapons we'll get to use in the game. However, in order to better understand the Assassin's Creed Valhalla gear and what we can expect to see in the upcoming game, we will start with the latest information we've got from developers. And this information can be found in Darby McDavid's interview for the official PlayStation magazine. As you can see in the said interview, Darby McDavid outlines that every piece of gear is unique in the game and can be upgraded extensively so we can use it for a long time. From this statement we can understand two things. First, that all weapons and gear pieces are unique, and if let's say we find an epic or legendary weapon early in the game, we can upgrade it so it can match our character's level. Furthermore, we can finish the game with the same weapon we have used when we started our journey as Eivor, if we wish to do that. The second important fact that we can understand is that generic weapons will not be available, and by that I mean the weapons dropped by our enemies, simply because the weapons are unique and it would be impossible. However, keep in mind that we are talking about weapons dropped by enemies while fighting, not weapons you can loot after killing an enemy. Regarding the level of our gear and how weapons are upgraded, I'm not going into details in this video because we are going to cover this topic another time. So right now we are going to focus on the weapons we can expect to see in the game, and the first type of weapon is the spear. Why the spear? Because it was the cheapest weapon used by Vikings. The price of a weapon is very important for the Viking Age, and we need to understand that iron and other metals used by blacksmiths were not only rare but also very expensive. Simply put, the less metal a weapon had, the cheaper it was. And since a spear had only the tip made of metal, it was a very cheap and common weapon. The Viking spear was used by the common class, and it was also used both as a throwing weapon and as a thrusting weapon. Multiple variations obviously existed, but again we are not going into details with that. In the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailers revealed by Ubisoft, we can see the Viking spears appearing multiple times, and it is also used as a throwing weapon, as you can see. Another type of weapon that appears in the trailers and was inexpensive for Viking is the bow. Used both for hunting and during their raids, the bow is the ranged weapon we will rely the most in the upcoming Assassin's Creed Valhalla video game. At the beginning of the first trailer we can spot Eivor's quiver, and this weapon is also confirmed by the Assassin's Creed Valhalla hunting activity we have discussed in one of my videos. If you missed it, you can find the link in the description. The bows were made of yew, ash or elm, while the arrowheads were made of iron, although history tells us that the poor Vikings also used bones and antlers for arrowheads, simply because, as I said, while iron was rare and very expensive. Moving on, we have the axe, which was the most common hand weapon among Vikings. A little more expensive than the spear, obviously, the Viking axe had three variations, all of them being featured in Ubisoft's trailer. First, we have the bearded axe, which was both used as a tool and a weapon. It is the one Eivor uses as a main weapon in the trailer. Next, we have the Dane axe, also known as the English long axe, we can spot on Eivor's companion. And finally, we have the throwing axe, which is the smallest variation. Again, it appears several times in both trailers. Vikings used axes a lot during the Viking Age because unlike swords they required less metal to be produced since axes had the handles made of wood. This doesn't mean, however, that swords will not be available in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They will, but we need to understand that swords, which required a lot of iron and other metals, were very costly to make and a sign of high status. Owning a sword was a matter of high honor. Furthermore, the Viking Age swords were for single-handed use to be combined with a shield, although I am pretty sure we will see double-handed swords as well. The last two Assassin's Creed Valhalla weapons that have been confirmed by Ubisoft appear in this screenshot, and as you can see, both of them are blunt weapons, a flail and a hammer. And no, that is not Thor's hammer as many YouTubers falsely claim. Now, along with the weapons we've talked about so far, we can also expect to see knives. These will most likely be divided in three categories, such as throwing knives, the single-edged knives known as Kinfr, and the machete-like knives known as Seax. Finally, slings may be included as silent ranged weapons as they were heavily used by Vikings, but also the Viking polearm known as Atgir, which was similar to a glaive, and obviously the hidden blade that we will discuss in another video. Before moving forward to the shields, it's worth mentioning that although it's not confirmed yet, the rope dart may return, and if you want to know how is this possible, you will find the answer in the video I have uploaded on YouTube, and the link is also in the description below. Last but not least, dual wielding will be available as confirmed by Ubisoft, which means we will be able to use most of the weapons we saw in various combinations, such as X plus sword, double swords, and even double shields. Which brings us to the next part, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla shields. When talking about the shields in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, things are a bit easier because we can expect only two types. First, we have the common round shields we can spot everywhere in the trailers. These were made of wood because obviously they were inexpensive. Then we have the kite shield, which appears in the picture we saw earlier. One thing we need to keep in mind is that Ubisoft announced that we will be able to equip Eivor with two shields. I believe because of their size, only common round shields can be equipped because the kite shields were not only bigger but also heavier. How we will be able to fight using two rounded shields? Well, this is a question I don't have an answer for you right now. Maybe you do, and I can't wait to read your opinions in the comment section. Moving to the final topic, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla gear. So far we know that all gear is unique, and in Assassin's Creed Valhalla this gear is upgradable at the blacksmith in the settlement. Upgrading the gear will also give new visuals. We can choose to interchange the visuals of all armors and weapons that have been obtained. This bit of info comes from Ubisoft, but if we take a closer look at the picture earlier, we can see that there are three different sets of gear Eivor is wearing. The first one on the left shows Eivor is wearing a light leather armor, while in the middle we can see our Viking wearing a medium armor with pieces of metal on the chest plate. Finally, we have a heavy armor set with a metal helmet, which looks quite awesome if you ask me. But if we connect this picture with the info we have from history, it is also the most expensive one. So let's see what we can expect from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Well, I believe the gear will remain as it is in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, meaning that we will be able to equip Eivor with a hood or headgear if you want. Then we will be able to use various gauntlets, garments, belts and boots. This will be fully upgradable according to Darby McDavid, and once we upgrade a piece of gear, it will not only become more efficient, but the visuals will also change. Hence, I believe that the set we see in this picture is the same one, but after several development phases. Okay, so I think this is the majority of weapons we will be able to use in Assassin's Creed Valhalla and how the gear will actually look like. Keep in mind though that I will have new videos ready for you this week in which we will analyze how upgrading weapons and gear works, and also a lot of cool info about our settlement. Make sure you subscribe if you want to stay updated on the latest Assassin's Creed Valhalla news and trailer breakdowns, and obviously let me know your thoughts on today's topic in the comment section below. Until next time, stay safe.